good day, everyone. This is your teacher, Miss Mars, and on today's video lecture, I am going to talk about or discuss the last lesson under Unit 3. And of course, we'll look into a specific stylistic theory or framework that we can definitely use to analyze prose. So I know in the previous unit, we focus on poetry, and now we look into prose drama, and that's our focus for Unit 3. And unit lesson 4 under Unit 3 is really interesting because it would definitely open our perspective on how could we stylistically analyze a prose. So I know you all are ready. Let's without further ado, let's begin. At this time, allow me to share my screen to everybody. So we do have here models for stylistic analysis of prose or drama. Now, as what I have mentioned in the previous unit, we focus on poetry, and this time we will look into and focus more on the drama or prose, no? On the prose, or shall we say drama as well. So, of course, we do have here, first, we'll look into the conversational analysis and the cooperative principle. So when we say drama, because our focus here is mainly on the drama, since when we say conversational, there is a dialogue, but also even in novels and at the same time, short stories, characters do also have dialogues. So we do have here the conversational analysis and the cooperative principle of Paul Grice. So conversational analysis, it's an approach to the study of social interaction and talk in interaction that, although rooted in the sociological study of everyday life, has actually exerted significant influence across the humanities and social sciences, and that includes linguistics. So it is here where we can look into how should we interact with each other, especially in our dialogues. So using the cooperative principle of Paul Grice, we could be able to analyze the conversation or the dialogue among characters. So we do also have the conversational cooperation. Okay, so Paul Grice actually says that when we communicate, when there is communication, we assume without realizing it that actually we are talking to will be conversationally cooperative. So from the word cooperative, that means we have to be able to contribute to the conversation. That means we do have a common ground for conversation, and that all the people involved in that conversation are contributing, and at the same time they are giving what is needed. They're also taking in what is needed to be taken. So that makes it a good conversation. So we will cooperate to achieve the mutual conversational end. So there is a cooperation among people involved in a conversation in order for us to achieve the common goal. Why are people there? To communicate, of course, to be able to understand each other and come up with a decision or whatever is the goal of the communication. So this conversational cooperation even works when we are not being cooperative socially. And for example, we can be arguing with one another angrily, and yet we are still cooperating quite a lot conversationally to achieve the argument. So it doesn't really have to be like everybody should be like always agreeing. It could even be arguing, but at the same time, our argument should still be there or should still be relevant to what we are talking about so that we could achieve our goal. Why do we argue? So that is the cooperative principle of Paul Grice. Okay, so the conversational cooperation manifests itself, and then according to Paul Grice, in a number of conversational maxims. So he calls it the maxims. No, we feel the need to abide by the maxims. So these maxims look at first sight like rules. So they are like the rules that we follow when we engage in conversation, but they appear to be broken more often than grammatical or phonological rules are. So for example, as we will see later, we will look into how Grice or why Grice uses the term maxim rather than rule. So here are the four maxims. There may well be more, which Grice says we all try to adhere to in conversation, but there are really four main maxims. No? So we have the cooperative principle, according to Paul Grice. We have the maxim of quality. So when we say maxim of quality, we instinctively cooperate in terms of the truth of what we say. So we have to be accountable, and we have to make sure that we are only providing truthful information, and we are not providing lies or fake news to the person we are talking with. So that is why we need to have or to know the maxim of quality. Second is the maxim of quantity. So we instinctively cooperate in terms of the quantity of the information that we provide. Like what is needed, what we are asked of should be what we are going to provide. You ask for that, I will give you an answer only for that. Oversharing is actually a violation to the maxim of quantity. So you just shared what you are asked for. Third is the maxim of relevance. So we instinctively cooperate in terms of the relevance of what we contribute. Like, are the things we are talking about related to the topic or related to the theme of the conversation, or is it really off and people would not want to listen to it? And so that is something we have to consider when we engage or when we take part in a conversation. And the fourth is the maxim of manner. So we instinctively cooperate in terms of the way we strive to communicate clearly. We have to make sure there is clear message that we would want to share, or we would want to cascade to our listeners or to our interlocutor, and we should not be ambiguous and obscure. So that is the maxim of manner. No, we have to know how to express it clearly, and indeed, if we are going to follow all these maxims, then there we can avoid misunderstanding. And the conversational maxims, this is Paul Grice in year 9 and 75. And he said that the maxim of quantity, do not say too little or too much, just enough, di ba? Kung unsay gipangayo, kung unsay gipangutana, mauy tubagon, dili kay mag-overshare ta. But we are victims of that, or we are culprits rather of that. I am too. Like, supposedly I should just focus on this, but I tend to overshare. Oversharing would really like give you or put you in a not so good, impression, or the person you're talking with will have a not so good impression of you if you do overshare a lot. And the maximum quality, you have to speak the truth. I mean, it should be something that is real. It should be something that is not a lie, that is not a fake news. So it should only be the truth. So it's what you will share should just be facts. The maximum of relevance. So keep what is being discussed relevant to the topic in hand. Don't all of a sudden you are going to change the topic. That is actually not okay. It's putting the person you're talking with really like, this person may not be really interested. Or if you're in a group and you keep on sharing information that is not even related to the topic that you are discussing as of the moment, then people would not want you to be in the conversation. And the maximum manner, be clear and avoid ambiguity. So it is something very important. Kinahanglan klaro lang ug dili ta ingon nga way klaro, or something that is the way you present it linguistically, it's really ambiguous. It could have a lot of meaning. So things like that. If it is ambiguous, the people you are talking with may have different interpretations, and that would lead to misunderstanding. When these maxims are flouted or broken, they give rise to implicatures, so implied meanings that listeners are intended to infer from the speaker's comment. So we should not break these violate or break or flout these maxims. Look at the exchanges. Let's try to take a look at the exchanges on the next slide, and let's see if we can identify the implicature. So maxim of quality, be truthful. This is according to Grice, no? Maxim of quantity, don't talk for too long or for too little. If you also provide very little information about the things that you were asked, it is not also good. No, maxim of relation, be relevant, and maxim of manner, be clear. Okay. So breaking the maxims, we can violate them. And in fact, if you keep on violating the maxims, people may have a not so good impression of you. Like, are you sane? It could be, diba? Kinsa man nang magsig-break sa maxim class. It could be somebody you are talking with, nga walay klaro nga kaistorya. It could be someone that has some kind of mental illness, diba? So we can violate them. But it doesn't mean also that kung abi kay naka-violate ka og maxim na natin kay mental illness, of course not. It could be like because you are number one, you're not focused on the topic or on the conversation, you have a lot of things going on your plate, or it could also be like you are under, the influence of the alcohol, you're drunk maybe, and the like. So we can violate them. This means that we break the maxims surreptitiously or covertly so that other people do not know it. Like we're being discreet. Diba? We tend to appear to be like somebody who does not break it. If we violate the maxim of quality, we lie. Okay. So if we don't tell the truth, that means we lie. And somehow people could really believe in the lies or your false narrative, diba? If we violate the maximum quantity by not giving enough information, if someone finds out, we can be accused of being economical with the truth. That's another deceit, diba? So it's not good that we keep on violating this. So if we violate the maximum quantity by not giving enough information, we are trying to hold something. So we are trying to be economical with the truth. And that is also another form of deceit in a way. We can violate them. If you like violating the maxims, amounts to breaking them illegally, just people who still are guilty of laws concerning theft. As with laws, some maxim violations can be more heinous than others. Lying in a court of law is disapproved, but white lies, small lies to keep the social peace, are often thought as acceptable. So we do also have white lies. Pag mga white lies, okay lang, di ba? Somehow, because you just don't want to really make a big deal out of it. So you just don't want to be honest with your feelings and you don't want people to get hurt. And at the same time, you just want to, leave it behind. So that's why you just lie, diba? Like instead of telling the truth about your feelings, you just lie. So that is, white lies, they are acceptable. That's fine. We can flout them. If we flout a maxim, we break it in a flagrant and often foregrounded. It is obvious to all concerned it has been broken, but if we violate it, it appears not to be obvious. So pwede pag violations siya class, pwede gid nga mutuo ka that it is the truth. Na dili siya violated because the appearance of a conversation or of a dialogue na violate ang maxim still appears to be true and dili kaayo siya ingana ka dili siya noticeable that you break the maxim. But when you say flout, it is very obvious. Okay, if this happens, then it is clear that the speaker is intending. Okay, there is an intention for you to really twist it or to really, you know, to really flout it or to really there is an intention, diba, to infer some extra meaning over and above what is said. So evidence for this is that the people say things like, he said he was happy, but the way he said it implied he wasn't really. So this one is true because you said you were happy, but the way you say it, like, I mean, your face is sour. Your face is not really like telling me you're happy about it. So it becomes obvious that you are lying about your feelings. And here, it's not like it's obvious. It's obviously not obvious. It's in the violation. It's obviously like appearing to be real to the person you are talking with. It's hard to determine if it's a violation. Oh no, it's hard to determine that you break the maxim. So when we can flout them, Grice distinguishes what he calls sentence meaning from utterer's meaning. And he refers to an utterer's meaning indicated through a flout as an implicature. Okay, so ang mean sa nagstoryaan na, if it is indicated through a flout, Grice call it implicature. So the implicature is what we have been referring to so far as the extra meaning. And muna atong makita, di ba? Unsa may implied ani niya. Sometimes dili na to makita, pero somehow it's also good if you have the guts or you have the skill to determine what is implied. So now let's try to take a look at a video to explain further about the cooperative principle of Paul Grice.
In this video, you're going to learn about the importance of the Gricean cooperative principle. Here you can see a picture of the linguist llama. The linguist llama is usually a quite whimsical guy. If asked whether Grice's maxims are important, he replies that sandwiches are tasty, which does not really answer our question. Or does it? Now, the cooperative principle is generally about cooperation with one another, hence the name cooperative principle. When two people speak, we can presuppose that they cooperate in order to bring meaning across. And in order to bring meaning across properly, we have so-called maxims of conversation, which are the following. The first maxim is the quality maxim, which basically means to tell the truth. Here we have Derb and Derpina engaging in a conversation. She asks him how old he is. And what does Derb say? He is 145, which is false. So he didn't apply the maxim of quality correctly, because he's actually 20. The next maxim is the maxim of quantity, which means that messages should be as economic as possible. That is, explain the world with just a handful of words. Again, Derpina asks for Derb's age. And what he gives to her is a quite extensive arithmetic problem. Sorry, Derb, but you've just violated the maxim of quantity. The third maxim is concerned with relevance. It says that we should only reply correctly. Here, Derpina asks for Derb's age again, and Derb says, I like cheesecake. Way to go, Derb. That's how you should not do it. The last maxim is the manner maxim, which means that we should give information in a clear and orderly way, without confusing our partner. And again, Derpina inquires Derb's age, and he replies, Am I 20 years old or 243 months old? And when does life begin anyway? Wow, in violating maxims, Derb certainly takes the cake. Here are some more things that you can do with maxims. First of all, you can violate them without being noticed, which we generally call lying, as you see in this example, where A asks B, Did you eat the last pancake? And B replies, No, I didn't, although he did. You can also violate maxims deliberately, which is called flouting. For instance, if you say, You wrecked my car, a fine friend you turn out to be. What you can also do is refrain from cooperation, which is called opting out. By saying, My lips are sealed, you signify that you don't want to talk anymore.
Okay, so in the video earlier class, it's good that the video also talk about opting out, because in the previous lecture earlier, I just talked about flouting, violation, and I did not include flouting, opting out rather. So violation, flouting, and then opting out, and you know already the difference. You know, when we say violation, you're lying, but your intention is actually not to tell the truth and really just hide the truth, and making the person you are talking with or your interlocutor not to notice that what you said is not true. But when we say flouting, you have the intention to actually lie or not tell the truth, or making a twist or something like that to your answer, and it would appear really obvious to the person you are talking with. So that is your intention, to make it obvious. But when we say opting out here, when there is something like you are being asked, you don't just answer it. You say, no comment, or my lips are sealed. This is very showbiz, diba? When celebrities, when they are asked by paparazzi or interviews, and then they don't want to answer, they just want to dodge the topic or the issue, they will just say, oh, I would not want to comment about that. And that is opting out. Okay, so this is actually now the last part of the video, the pull guys, a video about. So I hope it's clear to you, class, about this model. Actually, the video also gave example. When do we say it has not follow the maximum quality, the maximum quantity, manner, and relation by the conversation between these two characters, and the main question is, how old are you? So you also know already how those things or the maxims would be like, diba? And the thing is, I will be giving also another research papers to be read by you on the Google Classroom for reference on the maxim or the cooperative principle of Paul Grice. And we can also look into a sample research paper or study where the cooperative principle is used to analyze the dialogue, or used to analyze an excerpt coming from a certain literary piece. And obviously it should be a prose, diba? It could be a short story, it could be a novel, it could be a drama, because short story, novel, drama, they do have dialogues. So this is it for now. I hope you learn a thing or two. It's actually very good to talk about what is actually one of my favorite topics in stylistics, the cooperative principle of Paul Grice. So I will see you next time. Next time, I will be scheduling our feedbacking session, the live session that we will have, and after that, we'll go straight to our unit 4, which is the last unit of our the subject stylistics and discourse analysis, and that would be focusing on discourse analysis with regards to unit 4. So that's our last topic. But prior to that, also, of course, you will have an activity that you will do for unit 3, and an objective type of quiz. So I hope you will really watch the video lectures and also read the supplementary materials that I am going to add on the Google Classroom. So once again, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. And if you do have questions, don't hesitate to communicate or to ask about that on the Google Classroom or even to our group chat. So thank you very much. I will see you next time. God bless us all. Keep safe, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the week. Bye.